So there's this is really, really sad.
The SAG-AFTRA strike continues.
Yeah. So Patrick J. Adams, he played Mike Ross on Suits. I love that show for what it is. He posted some throwback pictures of like him on set with like people with like Meghan Markle, who was on the show with him.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, this story isn't sad. It's just infuriating because he cucked to the strike mob.
It's embarrassing.
So quickly.
It's embarrassing. So he posted these images and then quickly took the images down. And this is his response.
Yes.
He says, "The last couple of days, I foolishly and thoughtlessly let a trip down Suits memory lane distract me from the very real and ongoing fight everyone in SAG-AFTRA continues to wage in its effort to win our membership realistic 21st century compensation and protections. It was an embarrassing oversight for which I'm incredibly sorry. So grateful to those who gently and swiftly course corrected me here, and I look forward to continuing the fight in the days and weeks ahead."
So grateful to those who slapped me on the wrist.
Blink twice if you're
and
okay.
put me in the timeout corner.
It reads like a Taliban letter from like somebody who's been captured.
I'm starting to
Lord
think
Miles
that the
Rutledge.
Taliban is friendlier than SAG-AFTRA.
No, there's
at this point.
the YouTuber that I always mention, Zach from Comics Matter. He would always talk about. He's like, look, I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. He said, literal terrorists are less awful than SJWs, and I think that in this case, that's kind of the same thing.
No,
he's
it's true.
He's like, at the very least, they have like their own code. He's like, these people have
we
no
need
code.
to bring
They're just
back
evil.
the term SJW.
Yeah, you don't hear it very much.
Whatever
anymore.
happened to that?
That's how it all began.
But,
2017,
We're gonna bring it back.
He would talk about how he's like literal terrorists were less awful than these people.
Dude, Lord Miles Rutledge is imprisoned by the Taliban right now. He's
not imprisoned. He's like living the life.
Apparently,
it's like a luxury hotel where he orders pizza and plays Xbox all day or something.
That's what I was reading earlier.
He called the oversight he called it an embarrassing oversight and added that he is incredibly sorry. He doesn't actually feel this way. Nobody in this situation actually feels this way. He is being bullied by basically a mafia.
Do you think Meghan Markle is in SAG at this point?
She's probably still a member, yeah. Because she's considering coming back to acting. She also might get that because she appears in documentaries and stuff like that.
True.
She's very likely still in the union, right?
Is she good?
She's fine in that show. So there was actually an episode of the show Castle where she plays a woman who kills two other people, and she's far more believable as like
as an evil witch.
like and it's an episode of the show where basically two women are killed in the like as if they're in fairy tales. Like, so one is dressed to look like Snow White, and one is dressed to look like Sleeping Beauty, and one is dressed to look like it's just that was like the theme of the episode. And at the end, you find out that she fakes her own attack and kills these two other women to cover up like a somebody who died in a drunk driving accident, like when she was in her 20s. And I'm like, I totally buy her as evil in this show. She was totally believable in that.
What's up with the strike? I didn't know there was a SAG-AFTRA strike.
So the writer's strike just ended, and the SAG went on strike a little bit after the writer's strike did. So that one is still going on.
Is it the same? They're striking for the same thing? They want more money?
It's partially to do with regulation in regards to artificial intelligence in the industry.
Yeah.
With writing, it has to do with AI being used to replace the writers, like using ChatGPT to help write scripts. With actors, it's more about scanning your likeness and using artificial intelligence to prevent you from being able to be paid for something that...
Awesome. Okay, good.
So
you support it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking about.
I mean, that's one I think a lot of people do. That's like one of the few ones that people are get behind, right? Like, even if you think they're all whiners, you're like, look, they shouldn't be able to just scan your face and use you endlessly.
It's a legitimate concern that was brought up at the stupidest time ever.
Yeah.
Like, now is not the strategic time to bring up that you're getting replaced by robots. That should have been brought up years ago.
Well, yeah, and they talked about how the writer, like the Directors Guild,
they're almost so annoying to the point where I'm like, I don't care if you get replaced by robots. Tough luck.
Oh well, and you read letters like this where it's very clear that the union scared the crap out of this guy and said, like, you better make an apology and pull this down, or else, when all he did was post a couple of photos on his Instagram.
It's his fault for cucking to them, like.
And they all do, though. But they all end up. So every actor that is so all of the talk show hosts, right? So not Kimmel, but like Bill Maher, Drew Barrymore, and all of these other daytime talk show hosts or talk show hosts were going to come back without writers.
Yeah, I saw that
and
Bill Maher was.
And they all said they were going to, and every single one of them bent the knee and said, okay, sorry, we're kidding. We're not going to come back. We'll wait until the writer's strike over. And all of the apologies sound the same. Like they got some very, very nasty letters in the mail, and then they knew that if they didn't do this, they were going to become persona non grata in the industry, and they were essentially scared into apologizing and falling in line. When the average person hears that, they don't think favorably upon the group that's making them do that. Like not the average. I don't believe that the average person does. Right. Like there was an article written in Deadline today. Valiant Renegade did a really good breakdown of this video talking about why the strike is going to end up blowing up in the face of the writers, basically saying like projects are already being halted and they're already reevaluating what's going to come out, because now they have to pay very close attention to what they green light, because the writers wanted to be able to put they wanted to be able to make sure that there was more writers in the room than the studios wanted. They had all of these, requests.
When you impose all these regulations, it does stifle the opportunities for creativity in general, because they're just going to say yes to less ideas.
But even the comment section on the Deadline article was surprisingly realistic in saying like, look, this is what you guys had coming to you. Like you kind of put this on yourself. And I think that the average person who is not a union member looks at somebody who's very clearly who's been threatened into making this apology, because nobody in their right mind believes that somebody posts 3 images of a coworker of theirs from a show that ended in 2019 and thinks they were acting in bad faith or acting as though they were trying to distract from their strike. He was just posting an image because he isn't working right now, and he was nostalgic.
Does that count as promoting it?
Yeah, they would consider it promotion for it, right? So they're saying that
it's still the #1 show on streaming right now, which is crazy.
It makes me think that if they're going to strike, they should private all of the videos on YouTube that are SAG.
Yeah,
every one of them.
Well, like a lot of the actors, like they archived all their social media posts and put on strike till further notice. So basically, they're saying if you don't fall in line and do exactly what we're doing, we're going to threaten you and make it look like you're holding up a newspaper with the date on it with a letter from the Taliban saying do this or else. And how does the average person who works a regular 9-to-5 job read some actor basically kowtowing to these people and sounding terrified as he does it? How do they sympathize with the union? And that's while knowing that you don't support the studios either.
They don't really need public support and public sympathy, do they?
I mean, they should if they want public sentiment on their sides, because eventually they're going to want people to come back to the movies.
Do they want public sentiment on their side? I mean, it doesn't matter. Nobody in the general public is paying attention to the strikes anyway.
I would like to think that
nobody knows what's going on.
I would like to think that they at least would want public sentiment on their side for them to come back to the movies, considering the average person.
They've been actively antagonizing regular people in Hollywood from well before the strikes ever begun. So clearly they don't care about that at all.
And the ones who aren't that way are, but what I'm saying is that the ones who aren't that way, because that's not all actors. That's a lot of them. They're annoying, especially the younger ones are annoying.
I'm pretty satisfied to just like paint them with a broad brush.
But the ones who aren't are then,
trash.
But the ones that don't are scared into compliance, because that's part of being in a union
which is
like
almost
this.
worse.
Yeah. So it sucks, and it sucks that he went and bent the knee to them, but that's the way it is. So you can't have fun. You can't post pictures with your friends for fear of taking the eye off the ball from your stupid union negotiations. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.